Well, hello, everybody. This is day 4 of 5. I'm getting there, so I'm pretty happy. I'm going to tag just a few of my friends here that I know like to join me sometimes. There we go. So, day 4 of 5, a series all about real estate and how it affects the economy during this pandemic and COVID-19. So today I've got a lot of material, so I really want to get through it pretty quickly, so I'm going to jump right in. The topic for today is real estate trends, and I'll probably give you some short-term projections. So the first thing I want to really get across to my audience this week is that when housing is concerned in real estate, the sky is not falling. Real estate is actually going to be one of the drivers that brings the economy back. And I know probably one of the big reasons why we're hearing some people being very pessimistic about housing, thinking it's all going to fall out and it's going to, be like 10 or 12 years ago, is because of that recession. They're thinking it's the same elements that were happening back then happening today. And it really is a completely different story economically. So that's really why I'm trying to get this message out. As I said yesterday, what we think about, we bring about. So we want to be thinking about our economy in a positive way. And if we know we have something that contribute and help, then we need to be speaking positive about it. So I want you to take all the information I've given you, put it in simple terms, and when you're having conversations with people out there, your friends, and they're being negative, maybe you can bring them up to date with some of the information I've supplied. So that's the first thing. I definitely want to make sure everyone's thinking positive. So before we went into COVID-19, a great thing started to happen here in real estate, and that had to do with mortgage rates. They dropped significantly. The amount of people that started to refi was crazy. Some people were getting under 3% on a 30-year mortgage. That is crazy good. So that typically gets buyers really excited, because when they look at the pros and cons of just one mortgage point, it's a huge savings over time. So in the second quarter of 2020, they still think mortgage rates are going to be right around 3.5%. Predictions are even by the first quarter of 2021, they'll still be around the same 3.5%. So they're going to stick pretty close to that number here for the next coming year. So that's going to be a driver for the buyers who want to come to market. So that's a positive thing. And just to give you an idea, just on a $200,000 mortgage, which obviously doesn't work here in most cases in Southern California, you're looking at a 30-year savings just from a 4.0 to a 3.3 interest rate, a 30-year savings of $27,000. So multiply that by 2 for you people buying in Los Altos or these local areas. Your savings is over $50,000 in a 30-year fixed loan. So I think what's going to help people really understand why real estate is actually on strong ground is to talk to you and remind you about Economics 101, which is supply and demand. So the housing supply remains historically low right now. Even lower with COVID-19, because a lot of sellers did not want to invite buyers into their home right now during this pandemic. So that makes perfect sense. So with that, let me give you a little bit of idea about the supply over the last 12 months. So the supply was actually up a year ago, 2.5% in March. In May, it was at almost 3%, and then all of a sudden in the summer months, it dropped. So the supply started to drop during the summer, which is actually kind of unusual. So last year during the summer, it was down 2% in July, 2.5% in August, almost 3% in September, And then it really started to nosedive during the fall, which really was significant. And then it wasn't really until February of this year, before COVID-19, we started to see the supply start to improve a little bit, but very historically low in the area. So there's a national poll that goes out that figures out what the seller traffic is. And overall, I would say the majority of the nation, it's weak. Seller supply is weak. Alaska's strong, Wyoming's strong, the Southwest has been sort of normal. I would say central United States is kind of normal, but the West has been super, super weak. So that's the demand. The demand for property is super high because there's nothing on the market. And then conversely, the buyer traffic nationally is stronger than it ever has been. And that kind of goes back to the mortgage rates. So when you have low supply and high demand from the buyers, guess what happens? Prices go up. So that's exactly what's been going on. We don't really see a forecast for that to change because I'm going to tell you, just locally, every agent that's listed on my team, even after COVID-19 and they told us to go home, not to come to the office, we are an essential business, so we are still able to help sellers and buyers. But during this period of time, every listing we put on the market has had multiple offers within 5 days and gone into escrow. It is crazy. And every agent I'm talking to at my office is experiencing the same thing. The supply is super, super low, but there's still a lot of buyers out there that want to take advantage of these low interest rates. And I think they're educated. They know what's going on. So that's pretty crazy. So I think one of the things people lean into is they hear the word recession and they think, oh my God, prices are going to crash. So a little history. I talked to you earlier this week about the recession of 1980 and 1981. Actually, during that time, prices went up 6.1% in 1980 and 3.5% in 1981. In the recession that we had in 1991, prices only came down less than 2%. And then during 2001 recession, prices actually increased 6.6%. Then all of a sudden, here comes 2007, 8, 9, 10, when the market crashed from the predatory lending, a lot of elements that don't exist today. There was a lot of wrong things that went on during that time. The prices came down 20%. That's when we saw all the short sales and foreclosures. Yesterday, I told you I don't really expect a lot of that because of all the equity we have in our properties. So when you look at trending over a longer period of time during recessions, typically prices go up, which is kind of interesting. So, and usually it's because of there's not enough homes on the market. So it's an inventory thing. So the recent study of inventory in 2007, there was an 8-month supply. That was a huge seller's market, lots of properties on the market. So of course that would make prices come down. But today the inventory nationally is 3.1 months of supply. And actually locally it's under 2%. I'm going to talk about the Long Beach numbers now because I think this is huge to a lot of people. This is going to blow your mind. So these are April numbers. After COVID, we'd already been home 2 weeks. So these are the April numbers. I just pulled them all off of the MLS for all residential sales. That includes condos, single-family residence in Long Beach. New listings down 51%. So there's nothing coming to market. Active listings down 32%. Pending sales down 70%. Closed sales down 15%. Days on market. Now that's what I was talking about. That's where something comes on and it goes right into escrow. Days on market down 52%. That is like numbers we haven't seen and I can't remember when. And the months of supply is down 30%. But guess what? The average sales price, closed sales price for April was up 8%. Now that is double the increases we've done over the last 2 or 3 years annually. That is crazy. So that is something to be thinking about, how strong real estate is now. And I do think it's the lack of inventory, but it's also the mortgage rates really heating up the buyers. So I do want to go into some of the predictions for the second quarter. I think the second quarter we're going to get hit on the GDP. We're going to get hit on sales for real estate. We're just going to be starting to come back maybe toward the end of the quarter. So those numbers aren't going to be pretty. People are going to start coming to work. I told you yesterday, I heard a stat that about 80 to 85% of the people that actually filed unemployment were furloughed. So the large majority of people, when they start to come back, it will be in phases. Eventually, will be back at work. And we're going to be able to start putting money as consumers back into the economy. And so I think the result will be probably a quicker recovery than people think. So I talked about that earlier. So this week, make sure you look at those videos. The predictions look pretty good for third and fourth quarter. Everybody is talking about it being positive turn. Let me just read you a couple quotes that I pulled off the internet this week from some of the economists, since the topic is around economy. The pace of new home sales will post significant declines during the second quarter due to the impacts of higher unemployment and the shutdown effects of the economy. However, given the momentum that housing has had during 2020, housing industry will help lead the economy to eventual recovery. This is the chief economist, Robert Dietz at NAHB. Here's another one. Housing supply remains historically low levels, so house price growth is likely to slow, but it's not likely to go negative. That's Mark Fleming. Now, he's a little bit more in the middle. He's a chief economist for First American. Based on what we are seeing, it's possible that companies are already anticipating some kind of normalization. They're opening in certain states and starting to post jobs. So we know there's movement back to the workplace, and it looks pretty strong. So all in all, I really think it's a positive story when it's around real estate. And I hope that everything that I've been giving you during the week, you're taking a look at. I am actually giving you visuals every day after I've posted the videos. So the video yesterday, those visuals be posted on my Facebook page tomorrow, also on Bigler Karen's Facebook page. And then today, everything I talked about, I'll have visuals posted tomorrow. Now, tomorrow morning, I'm actually attending a deep dive into real estate in the economy, and I'm going to be gathering a lot of information, and I'm just going to kind of read off my notes. So my live stream tomorrow will be kind of my notes of some of the things that I learn about the latest stats, latest predictions, latest reads on unemployment, and we'll kind of do a recap of the week. So I hope you will tune in tomorrow. If you haven't seen all of my videos, I hope you'll go back and look at them. There's a lot to learn about this and a lot to feel positive about. So thanks for tuning in today. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.